everybody! Welcome back to the channel! So, for today, we have the Among the Sleep Museum. And if you don't know what the Among the Sleep Museum is, it is essentially, it is the, how can I say this? It's it's a whole entire room that shows the story on how the creators made the game, how a lot of the art, the 3D modeling that they done for the game, a lot of the art and 3D modeling of stuff that they didn't add to the game, and them talking about stuff they didn't add to the game, how it was creating the game and everything like that. So yeah, I decided that I wanted to I want to make this its own video because it's quite awesome going through this and seeing how the game was made and everything like that, and how they thought of their game, how they made it, and what they did differently and everything like that. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy it. And if y'all do, then please leave a like, hit the notification bell, and hit the subscribe button. And also, I stream this on Twitch, so you all should come over and say hello while I'm streaming. I pretty much try to stream almost every day, almost, it seems like now. Depending on how my other job is. But yeah, again, hope you enjoy. Alright, we got one last thing to look at, and that be the museum. I don't know if the museum will show my pictures and basically show like, hey, you're missing these pictures and everything like that. So I'm actually wondering if it will. Because like I said, I would like to 100% this game. But, oh. Oh, the art. Let's take a look. Very, very nice. I like me and Teddy together. Contents. Characters, the child and Teddy, Teddy 3D model, mother 3D model, child 3D model, creatures, Harold, Hydra, Heap, Hydra 3D model, Heap 3D model, environments, the home, the playground, the overgrown house, into the closet, the playground, other excess, and scribble. So that's all of this. So on page 10, oh yeah, and humble beginning is page 4. Okay. Humble beginning. Oh boy. Well, let's read. You know what? Let's do it because I love this game. In the winter of 2009, Andres and I can't say that name, so a former team member gathered a group of eager students at Hedmark University College to get together for their final bachelor degree assignment. Deciding what to do for the project didn't take long, as the group was quickly convinced by their designer and their idea. The pitch back then as follows. You're two. Okay, so this was all for a university project. I did not know that. Your 2-year-old waking up in the middle of the night, and you can see a dark shadow standing in the doorway. It approaches and violently tips your cot over, leaving you exposed and alone on the floor. Scrambling to escape, you find the safety of your mother. This was the starting point for our journey towards the game that you can play today. For the school project, our goal was to make a demo that we could build upon after graduating. To keep it simple, we settled on rudimentary mechanics and goals when making the first part of the game. As inexperienced students, we started making our own engine from scratch. and worked on that for 6 months before realizing that we could never finish the representable demo before the deadline. We made the switch to Unity and recreated everything we had made in a fraction of the time. Unity was used for the entire production after that point, so everything was made with Unity. The art on the page were Caroline's first inexperienced attempts to capture the mood and concept of the game back in 2010. The introducing entity and the child alone in the dark. Okay, very very nice. Oh gosh, everything's gonna have reading on it, isn't it? Oh boy, it takes a lot out of me to read. I will tell you that right now. Like, it honestly hurts my head to read that much, but I'll give it a try. Just for you all, and just because this game was is fantastic. Whew, all right, take off the headset so my head don't hurt that much. All right. Well into the project, we started discussing the possibility of turning the demo into a full game and starting our own company alongside it. Most of the group joined in the endeavor. A few declined, but we recruited other friends from class to fill their place. Later on, we were also joined by Martin, our sound guy. After graduating and forming a company, we took a fresh look at our concept. That what kind of game we want to create. The initial thought was horror, but we dabbled for some time with the idea of Teddy as a more powerful companion, with ways to overcome the neutral or neutralize enemies with a range of abilities. At this point, the game looked like more like an adventure game than horror. There were many ideas for Among the Sleep universe, most of them dreamlike and bizarre, but the first journey we started creating went through a large and open world. It began by exiting the home through the basement and coming out to the forest path, ending up in a bright and stunning meadow. After the comfort of the warm meadow followed a dark and hostile forest where the child and Teddy would have to use glow mushrooms as both shelter and flashlights against the light sensitive monkey like creature dubbed monk creature hunting them. And I'm guessing that's it. So, and the glowing mushrooms things was still kind of a thing for the first area too. Try and lead the way to the owls and everything like that. Underneath the forest was an underground cave system made and inhabited by giant tunnel worms who ate their way through everything. The immense crystal halls guarded by Rufus Lux giants, and later interactions, we had plans for a world in which the child would enter a life size dollhouse, and one of the threats was aggressively hungry furnace, which is what we got in the prologue. We got that furnace that was chasing after us in the prologue. Another world had the child traversing through a vast steam powered machinery, or parts of the machinery itself came alive and was out to get you. The first world resembled more that of an epic journey, and each one was designed to tell a small side story in addition to elaborating the main story. Which kind of still did its part right there, because every single world, once you got to the item, it showed more of the story and everything like that, showed more of your mother and everything, and showed the pictures on the walls and everything like that. So, yeah, still kept that going. As we progressed with development, we wanted the worlds to be more connected to the child. So we had to make some tough choices and cut a lot of the parts we had really liked, which this was cut. Characters and creatures. Fuck off. I'm sorry, but gosh dang. That's a lot to read. Okay. Uh, Man, it's gonna take me a while to read, so just strap in and enjoy. The child and Teddy. We didn't focus on building character for the child, and pretty much happened because all we have is a body. We don't have a face. We don't have a face or anything like that. Okay, cat. For the child, we just have a body. We wanted the players to immerse themselves as the toddler and let the actions you do in the game speak for themselves. This went hand in hand with our decision to have a silent protagonist, of course. The blueprint of the child, despite a boy, but it could just as easily be a girl, which I'm guessing is why the clothing came into play. You can basically pick the pink one if you want to be a girl, the blue, yellow, whatever to be a boy, and everything like that. But it could easily. We avoided referencing the child as he or she, which I'm pretty sure they kept that going. Within the game, the gender never mattered. Throughout development, we discussed the possibility of implementing an option for players to choose between multiple colors for the baby's pajamas, which it did, or even randomize it. Unfortunately, we never found the time, but in the future, they did that. You can pick your clothing now. One of the most important aspects we in designing the child was to fully immerse the player in the role. Every mechanic, animation, and interaction was developed. Strengthening was this vision. We made the child trip when running too long as a direct measure of emphasizing this, and yep, that stayed. Because this is all like back then. That's why I'm saying it stayed, because this is like what they very first had in mind for the demo and everything like that. Teddy was always meant to be the companion on the concept stage. He was a character following you around, and later on, when we were moving more in the direction of an adventure game, he had abilities that you could use. The abilities were based on objects you would find in the world as you progressed. For instance, there was a dragon mask that gave Teddy the ability to breathe fire, a bangle granting him super strength, a chalice of gluttony that conjured water puddles on the ground deep enough to swallow monsters, a bubble that served both as a shield and a way to survive underwater. Returning to the idea of Teddy as a following companion, we realized that making him behave as well as we wanted to would be a monumental task, at least the way it was originally designed. It was beyond our time and experience and a big risk in terms of immersion. The last thing we wanted in our horror game was an NPC character that would take you out of the moment. The same goes for his dialogue. We experimented with him taking continuously even when there were monsters and unsettling atmospheres, but it never felt appropriate. We wanted the player to feel vulnerable and alone. Putting Teddy on the child's back kept out him of the way. Kept him out of the way. but still within reach, ready for a hug to give comfort and warmth. Yep. The only ability we refrained from the adventure days was illumination, as we felt the supported the horror aspect. Yep, so basically hugging him made him lit up and it kept the horror aspect going. It also gives the player a connection to Teddy as a helpful, caring character. Yep. In the top right is the first version of Teddy. So this is the first version of Teddy. Made during the school project, where we redesigned him both because the match and textures needed redoing, and because we didn't feel his appearance reflected his personality well enough. We wanted him to look old and worn, like he had experienced a lot before he was handed down. Always patched up with damage, implying he had been loved and well cared for. As a result, he developed a highly empathetic and protective personality. Yep, and this was this is the Teddy that we got. Patches all over him and everything like that. Mother. We wanted the mother to appear as a loving, caring, hardworking mother, but also a human being with her own set of flaws. Finding her was always the main goal of the game. So it was important that she came off as very warm and loving from the beginning in order to encourage the players to search for her. We wanted her to smile and laugh a lot and to be playful when talking to our child to illustrate that she might feel a bit stressed and tired. We ended up making her hair a little bit ruffled. She has bags under her eyes and her sweater is stained. And this is the mother that we got. Yep, little bags underneath her eyes and everything like that. There was no text for Teddy, right? No, just 3D model. The mother's model went through 3 major interactions and was the hardest character to get right. She had to feel motherly, but in both looks and action. And a lot of time was spent on modeling textures and animating to achieve this goal. We did not want to make her too cartoony or end up in the dreaded uncanny valley, so we settled on something akin to exaggerate realism, which was actually good. Yep, and of course this is what your child was. The child. The kid model and animation went through 3 major interactions, each bringing up to par when we raised the bar to ourselves during the projection. Since you never see the kid's face, we didn't make the textures for its head. The head is hidden in game. We just needed the shape of the head to cast a shadow. So basically, this is what you look like. You're just a black head, and then your body and everything like that. Camera being right here in the face and everything like that. I'm actually wondering how long would this take to read? Oh boy, yeah, this is a lot to read. Nothing I can't do, so. And it seems like this page is probably, these 2 pages are probably the worst, or 3 are probably the worst out of them all. Alright. Harold. Harold was the first monster made for the game. The name is merely a way for us to refer to it when working on it. It has no deeper meaning. So basically, they named it Harold because they're like, alright, fix Harold up, and everyone will be like, oh yeah, yep, we know who you're talking about. Originally described as a shadowy figure with weird characteristics like wearing a hat and bulky boots while carrying an umbrella. We wanted it to feel like a distorted shadow of a person with twisty and unpredictable movements in order to give the animator some reference to work from. 7 video taped Andreas, designer, acting out how he felt it should move. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I have no idea where these people are from, so I'll probably get the names wrong because these are different language names. The video has since been lost, which is the same as it was quite entertaining. Dang, so there was a video out there of him basically playing as Harold, basically moving around as him, basically to show like what do you want it to look like. Harold was supposed to be shrouded in shadow, obscuring its real silhouette, and we did a lot of research and testing with partial effects to get it to look as if a cloud of shadow were always following it, but we could never get it quite right. We have many unused animations for Harold, as it was originally meant to be chasing you throughout the whole house in the first level. Unlike the other monsters, it had animations for bending down and prodding the players with the umbrella if they try to hide under something for too long. Oh! So it would stab us with the umbrella. Is that what you're saying? Prodding? Is that what that means? Okay, dang. Or just like poking us, like, get out from underneath there. However, as we progressed in development of the game, we felt as that such an aggressive monster was too intense for the first level, and he is mostly seen lurking in corners and shadows through the final version. Okay. Alright, yeah, we're good. Okay. Alright, continuing on reading. Hydra. Hydra origin word from very early in development. I'm not even gonna read it. When the story of the game was different and each level told the story of a child, not the player character. Hydra was the mother of a poor little girl. Sadly, she drowned and came back to haunt the little girl as the creature she is now, which stayed because that's what the pictures and everything showed from the old house or wherever it's called. We'll see that later on. Her threatening and dangerous behavior towards the player could be seen as a metaphor for how the young girl experienced this horrible, sad event. The girl was later blamed by her father for causing the accident, leading her to have terrible nightmares about this creature walking around in the forest looking for her. Since she drowned, her body is bloated and water damaged. Her dress torn from branches have grown into her swollen, deformed legs, as can be seen on some of the sketches. So you see the roots and everything growing off her legs. Her design started out as a more simplest and blobby, but after seeing her first model in game, we felt it did not fit the environment or look good up close. So I'm guessing like maybe like this was actually what she looked like, what they made her look like, and they didn't like it, or like something like this. I don't know. We gave her more realistic shapes and details, adding to her gratuitousness as well. When we decided to shift the focus of the story, Hydra was kept as she fit very easily into the new direction. Her drowning is now more in a metaphorical sense, and she still represents a mother, just not the mother of the child we had originally planned. This saved us a lot of time not having to design, model, and animate a whole new creature. In one phase of the design process, we wanted her arms to have grown attached to her body when noticing the player and become aggressive. She would lift her arms and tear the skin, making a rather disgusting sound, as well as giving the player an unmistakable visual and audible cue to hide as quickly as possible. Okay. Heap! When discussing the game and what could be frightening to a child, the thought of a monster in the closet, and in turn that monster being a dark, scary coat, came quickly to us. Because most children will see like a big old coat in the closet, very, very dark. All you see is a silhouette. All you think is a person is stalking you. So yeah, pretty much that is good detail right there. No, was a child throughout the monster in the closet. Turns out to be a monster in the coat. Came quickly to us. To a child's imagination, a coat can be a human form. Yep, menacing and towering with the promise of coming alive in any second. Yep, I have felt that before in my past when I was young. We had all had experience similar to this in our own childhood. I think I just need to shut up. So we were all excited to make a monster based on those memories. Heap got its name from the initial idea for the design, where it was a whole bunch of objects and rubble held together by a coat at the point in development. We wanted Heap to leave a trail of rubble behind when moving through the hallways and closets, but this was another thing we ended up not heaving. The resources to pull off, having the resources to pull off. There were many ideas for his design, but we settled on the more traditional looking coat that and feel that the result is effective as it's more rooted in reality and thus relatable. And again, very, very nice. So this is what they basically want it to look like. Basically, a whole bunch of stuff in a coat. And then we just got this. We just got eyes peeping through the coat while it's just chasing you. And still, pretty scary. Or mostly uncomfortable. I am cute. These are all the designs they had for him and everything like that. And this is basically what we got. Hydra, yeah, so the twigs and everything stayed the same. Hair and everything torn out. Huge hands and everything like that. Heap, coat and everything like that. Just the eyes peeping through it. The coat now, instead of just being pure black, has like stitching and everything on it. And the shadow thing is in the prologue, I'm pretty sure. The home. The home. When creating the house, we found inspiration in our childhood homes with late in Inti's early 90s decor. For instance, the design of the kitchen was shelves, walls, and floors almost identical to Caroline's childhood home. So pretty much this was pretty much the whole entire house kind of was based on somewhat close to their childhood homes, which is actually quite nice because if you were making a game about childhood home and everything like that, like that. Why not do your own childhood home as a reference? There were multiple interactions on the layout from the beginning, all to finally tune the flow of gameplay. The search for Mother was the main focus, and everything was laid out according to that goal. One of the first layouts, which can be seen in the first teaser for the game, had the main staircase resemble the one from Andrea's childhood home. We spent some time trying out different ways of descending the stairs, as that is supposed to be a challenge for a normal 2-year-old, and we wanted players to feel that in iteration, the child would grab on the stairs, bolting and go down the stairs sideways, making a slow descent, where a monster could be seen through the spindles creeping in way towards you as you struggle to maneuver yourself down the stairs and end up being cut due to being very static sequence going against our goals for the game. So, and basically, it's basically just normal walking down the stairs, basically. But when you're going up the stairs, you seem more slower going up the stairs, especially when you're walking. When you're crawling, I think it's normal. But when you're walking, you actually go slow, like you're taking your time up the stairs, like a child would. So they still kind of kept that. Dang. So when you're standing, you're a bit more slower, but when you're crawling, you seem like you're still at the crawling pace. Building this house taught us how important interaction can be when creating a video game. An initial idea is needed to start creating a level, but it almost never turns out the way you first intended it to on paper. With every interaction, the level became better and better, and we're very happy with the final results. This is why some of the team members think that this part is the best in the whole game, despite being the first. The playground. The playground. Originally the bridge between the real world and the dream world, this level has also seen its share of iteration and changes. We were inspired early on by abandoned deteriorating playgrounds and placed holding in the underground cave to make it feel even more surreal and unfamiliar. The overall layout has stayed unusually consistent throughout production. A narrow tunnel that opens up into a big cave, and that more fine grained design has been through the usual iterative design process, often as a response to changes elsewhere in the game related to story or pacing. The level has developed as a result of what it needed to tell the player at that point in the game. Whew. An early version of the level had the target item hidden away in tunnels around the center, but this yielded unnecessarily long paths to traverse. So we made the area smaller, as well as opening it up to in order to have more of the level visible from initial vantage points seen on the previous page. So on the previous page, yeah, so we're up here and we can see down there looking around and everything like that, which I got stuck. So yeah, so they basically wanted everything to be cave systems, and then they scrapped that and basically made it more open world that we got. Or open world, more open, what we got now. So I'm guessing this was what they wanted to do. Very, very nice looking. At one point, we had a giant tree in the corner of the level hollowed. Okay, so this is what that is. Hollowed out so the player could walk inside it. The inside wall was covered with drawers and had to be opened and climbed in order to get to the end of the level. Climbing all of these drawers turned out to be more frustrating than fun, especially with the drawers mechanisms we had at that point. So we had to cut it when we failed to find another good use for the tree. We decided to remove it entirely. Even though it was the backbone of the level, it turned out to be a good decision and a lesson in not getting too attached to the ideas we personally love and not being afraid to remove them if they don't work in the big picture. Kill your darlings, as they said. In which, in which at the end, the for the full game, they actually kind of kept that because when you're climbing, when you get the owls and climb up, you're still going through a hollowed out tree with bridge pathways and everything like that, which made it look cool. And you had to basically go up it and everything, which was perfectly awesome. But I can see what they meant by like it being this throughout because it seemed like look at that. Look how many drawers you would have to open up and go up, and then more drawers will have to go up. So yeah, so change all that, and more of the playground designs and everything. Our musical bridge, more of the designs. This is what we came through in order to grab the owls and everything like that. The overgrown house. The overgrown house. This area shows a huge old manor devoured by a swamp-like forest, which is where we got the woman, the Hydra, I think is what her name was. The original idea had two parallel worlds from one to the other at the player's command. Cover your eyes with your hands, and when you look again, the house is now a forest. Ooh, that actually sounds pretty nice. Like you have to cover your hands, and then you go around and everything. It's like the forest is kind of. Well, I'll read more, and I'll say what I want to say. Cover your eyes and your hands with rocks in the place of chairs, trees in the place of pillars, etc. This meant that we would have to make two versions of almost the entire level, something we didn't have time for. So it had to be scooped down quite a bit. It also required the player to learn mechanics not found in the rest of the game. So it was a decision that made a lot of sense and that made a lot of sense in the end. Was like I said, so what I was gonna say, like yeah, making the whole entire so like a monster chases you, cover your eyes, you're back inside the house. Walk forward. There's a chair in the way. There's like a chair in the way. Uncover your eyes. Recover them back up. Now it's a small rock that you can climb over and then recover your eyes and everything like that. Go back to which does sound annoying, but also a bit of a awesome idea to have. Most of us grew up near forests. Yep. And for some of us, the shortest route to school or our friends would go through one as children. Not to go to school or to see friends. I just played in my forest or my woods, wherever you call it. Traversing these forests at night or day during winter, when they were when it was very little daylight. Yeah, I loved it. It was so fun. Could be terrifying. They were creepy and ominous. It felt like anything could be lurking in the darkness, ready to pounce. Yeah, as a child, like the child's age now, like the child's age in this game. Yeah, that's how I felt. But getting older, the woods around my house were basically my playground. I made a wolf den. There was a small wolf den that was basically branches and everything like that made a actual small little cave that me and my sister would put our toys and everything in there. We had her kitchen playhouse, chairs and everything in there. It was a small little house, and actually was actually really good to keep out the rain. So actually, we actually slept in there at one point. But again, it was a wolf den. It was a small wolf den because you can find wolf droppings and the fur and everything like that. But it was abandoned, so that's why we played in it and slept in it and everything like that. Like that, we brought tents and everything in there, so it was actually quite fun. And but going there now, it's now destroyed, which actually makes me upset, very upset that it is destroyed and gone. Very, very upset. We wanted to replicate the character of these old dark Narrogant forests and the feeling of them slowly reclaiming the structures of the manor. Details found inside the house would also tell a story of their own original about the poor girl whose mother drowned and became Hydra, which is from the pictures pretty much that we have to go through in order to go to these other worlds or other areas. Very nice detailed area. And see, there's some pictures and everything like that too. Oh, see, this is what they wanted to do. See, cover your eyes, it looked like this. Cover your eyes, and then it looked like this. The images in the top right shown how an early design of the environment in different states, forest versus main or interior, and is the first interaction on the main room where the puzzle and paintings now reside. Another one is shown in the final design shown in the top left. Although these are many sketches and ideas leading up to the final design, none of them accurately reflect the way it ended up after ornate interactions and unity. An early concept of the library can be seen to the right. This is what they wanted the library to be like, that we had to crawl through and everything. More designs and everything, looking so nice. The library, I think this is what the library we have now. Everything. Ooh, creepy. Into the closet. Into the closet. When discussing environments and scary elements we wanted to incorporate in the game, one of the first ideas to surface was the childhood fear of what might be hiding in the closet. We felt that it fit the premise very well, and that many might be able to relate to this fear from their own childhood. We took the concept and started toying with the idea of creating a whole level filled with confusing hallways converted in closets, doors leading nowhere and everywhere, which is basically what we got. And of course, that's basically what you thought as a child. You would go in there, either there'll be a monster in there, or you go in there as basically a maze, and then the monster would chase you through the maze. That's basically as what you thought as a child. In this world, we wanted the player to feel uneasy and disoriented by its serial and repetitive geometry. It is also made to look very messy and contains a big of assortment of items scattered around, resembling a matchup of many different types of closet with large open spaces and seemingly endless hallways to give it a sense of scale beyond the areas and are reachable by the player. There is always the fear of something behind the walls and doors wailing to sneak up on you when you're not looking. All the doors and the floors giving the level creaky wooden feel, opening for many possibilities when using audio to build suspense and tension. wanted the closet door to make it feel like something could jump out of them at any moment, keeping the player on her toes to the entire time. The level originally had several areas with geometry that messed with the player's sense of depth, and a puzzle that involved using perspective and your point of view to solve it. But the idea ended up being very hard and conveyed to players, so we had to remove it, even though we liked it a lot. And it still had a very good puzzle because, like I said, it was kind of like you said, you had all these doors and everything like that to where you had to go through, and basically still kind of kept me like, wait, where am I supposed to go and everything like that for a while, and it was still good. Closet designs. Dimly lit coats can easily be mistaken for creatures in the dark. We wanted to intensify this by having the main threat be a creature shaped like one. Then we could use the other coats, clothes, and individual objects to trick the player into fearing they might come alive any second, creating anticipations and minor scares when one of them would suddenly move. Yep. The playhouse, and that's our like main little hub. The playhouse. This is a place where the child can feel safe. It serves as a breather between the worlds and a change of pace. Perhaps even more importantly, it gives the player a reminder of the major goal of the game and a way to feel progression. Since it is a calm area, it gave us the opportunity to have Teddy speak and move around without distracting the player from the experience. It is the only place where Teddy will explicitly tell you about the story. We had some trouble finding the final place for the level in the game. It was originally designed with a very different story in mind. Which Teddy does still speak to you whenever you're doing the other stuff, but it's very, very less. But he does speak to you a lot when you're in the playhouse. Give me a second. My whole entire body is shaking. Like I said, it is very hard for me to read out loud. That's why I hate reading out loud in games and stuff like that. But if I have to do it, I have to do it. Because you can tell that I'm getting quiet and then I'm getting loud because it hurts a little bit. Assets. Hold on, give me a second. Key objects. So these are all our key objects. The favorite book. At bedtime, the mother would sit down and read the passages from this book, telling a story about animals digging a well for the child. This was the highlight of the day. The favorite toy. A pink fluffy elephant, soft and comforting. It's one of the toys that the mother enjoys using when they are playing. The child feels a strong connection to it. The music box. Smoothing melodies with the mother lets run each night to lull the children to sleep. Listening to the soft notes give the child comfort and sweet dreams. The pendant. The mom's most precious piece of jewelry. The child knows it as she is always wearing it, letting her little darling play with it while in her arms. This page shows a small section of assets from the game. Our process had the 3D artists work from either concept art, a sketch blueprint, or from collected references followed by texturing by one of the 2D artists. The sheer number of assets and the interactions everything needed to go through made it a constant struggling to make sure every object got the love it deserved. And to be honest, everything felt like it was really good and felt like everything was loved and everything like that. So good on them. To give you a peek into the process, here are some snippets from our amazing notebooks. These content doodles, task lists, testing notes, ideas for sound leveling and puzzle designs, meeting notes, etc. So this is like everything that they had. This is like only a few little notes that they have made for this game, and that's awesome. And then this is probably thank you so much for your support. This is probably everybody's handwriting that made the game and everything like that. Yep. So that's the concept of art of Into the Sleep. And if you are going into game making and everything like that, game design and everything like that, have that be your lesson on game designing because, like they said, sometimes you will have an idea, but figure out that that idea can needs to be taken out in order to make the game better. Even though you love the idea so much, sometimes it's better to keep it out. But again, do this. Talk about your game. Talk about what you thought it was going to be and everything like that. Give me a second. I'm going to eat some chips in order to help me. Probably help calm my nerves a little bit. Because we got more of the museum to look at. It's the music. Let's see what Teddy has to say.
Hey, and welcome to Teddy's the Museum of Among the Sleep.
Okay.
Go on, take a look around.
Oh, dang. Ah, fast baby. I am Speed. Again, my hands are shaking, so this is a little bit hard to, like, do and everything. Ooh. What's this room? This is where I keep all my art.
Did you know that you can collect hidden drawings throughout the game? If you do, they will appear here in this room.
Okay.
There might even be a reward if you can find them all.
Thing is, how many are there? Is there a way to tell how many there are?
Did you know that you can collect hidden drawings throughout the game?
Alright.
If you do, they will appear here in this room. There might even be a reward if you can find them all.
What's this? What's this, Teddy?
The prologue was added as a free DLC a couple of months after release of the game.
What is it for the prologue?
It was made in collaboration with some of our fans and made to elaborate a little bit on what went wrong with the parents' relationship. That the mother was not simply evil, but rather that relationships are tough, and neither of the parents handled it well.
Yep. Yep. So even though she did become a little bit messed up and pretty much kind of abused him, it was because of all of this, which still is not a good idea. It's still not good, but I get it. I get the idea and everything like that. So this is all the concept art for this. I didn't even know the prologue was put together by oh wait, was there more here that I didn't see? Oh, is it going to show everything? Oh, is it going to show all of them? Are there? Is it okay? I didn't even know that this was also with fans and everything like that too. I did not know that. Oh, hold on. We wanted to approach the prologue chapter differently than the rest of the game by making the environment open instead of a linear path. Players are free to explore the house in the order and pace they choose. Not really, because you can't go upstairs unless you do one thing and everything like that. So, but I get what you mean. You can help whichever animal you want to help first. This is technically what it was. What do you gotta say before we read that?
Oh, you're home.
Oh,
The team wanted to start with introducing the character of the mother, as well as the mechanics of the game. Starting with the kid's birthday was a way to both introduce Teddy in the form of a gift and showing how old the kid is.
yeah. That was actually quite.
When night
Oh,
falls over the home is when you really start seeing the ways in which the child perceives reality while scared. A large part of the game is based on how children see and interpret what's happening around them.
yep. So basically, that just described the whole entire a lot of the stuff to you. That basically what we are seeing is basically through the eyes of a child. How would a child see everything? These are screenshots taken from the old house back when the project was our bachelor thesis in school. The idea behind the layout was pretty much similar, but had a few deviations from the current one. Pretty much still the same. One of our initial concept images, we think it communicates the premise of the game really well. Not in your face, scary or threatening, but the eerie atmosphere created by combining innocent children's theme and unsettling dark. Yep. So in technical terms, it wasn't basically jump scare fest or anything like that type game, but it was still eerie and scary. So it still had a lot to it that made it good. Another old concept piece from the year we prototyped the game back in school. This one from the living room shows both the moonlit mood and the general interior style of the house. We drew these types of concepts before making the house in 3D in order to get a sense of what we wanted the house to look like and make the modeling process faster. This is the very first. Let me get you out of the way. By the way, this is the very first concept image for Among the Sleep. So this is the very first image ever made for concept for Among the Sleep. Back then, the project was a little different and not as clearly defined. Hence, the focus was more on the physical monsters and a more adventuring game type of feel. This image was drawn from the inspiration of the exact idea that gave birth to the concept. An early idea for this chapter was that it would feel like a surreal in between world where you could see other dimensions through opening in the walls and bits of them would seep in. Ooh, okay. So basically, you'll go like through one thing, and then it'll be a different area, or like you'll start walking, and all of a sudden, boom, it's just a new world. We scrapped the idea and focused more on the rather lonely and creepy elements of playgrounds, wanting to communicate what that the kid had traumatized memories of being left alone in a playground and subject to the terror of other kids. Some more concept art of the playground. Very, very nice. Some more. The cave chapter has been through a ton of iteration since the start of the project. One thing that has remained the same is that there would be a castle to ascend in order to get to the end, which, yeah, the little castle. And that there would be a musical rainbow colored bridge. So that was always a thing, was a musical colored rainbow bridge. The shape and look of the castle itself has changed several times as we had many different plans for the overall gameplay, and it morphed along with these changes. Concept art of the castle. These are examples of another technique that we use quite often. We take screenshots of the environment, and our concept artist draws details and effects like lighting on top of them. This is a cheap way to find out how we want the visuals to end up before starting the produce asset. Okay. So you can see this is like more details and everything like that. Artists gets have different ideas for layout, environments, details, and lighting. So this is what they originally wanted everything to look like. With some of it still kept its charm to it. And see right there was where you would enter into the tree house in order to climb up and everything like that. Ow. Oh gosh, come on now. Oh, can I spin this? Aw, dang it. Oh, here's actually 3D models of everything. Oh, I didn't even realize this. Hold on, I want to look at this. So that's where we climbed up. The lights, like I was saying, the lights. Oh. This bird was supposed to lead the player at the beginning of the playground. Oh, okay. So this was supposed to be a helpful companion in the very first beginning of the playground. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I talked to you. I don't think I talked to you. I think I started looking at everything. We'll talk to you later. In the early iteration of the chapter, we had a huge tree that the players would have to climb in order to get to the memory in the castle. Instead of climbing the tower, the tree was hollow and was covered with drawers on inside the walls. And the gameplay idea was that you had to create a stairway by opening drawers while climbing them. This is an example of a situation where the idea seems really cool until you make it and try it out. It turned out to be way too cumbersome and frustrating, so we scrapped it. We still really love the idea though, and you still kind of kept a little bit of the idea for some of the things, like they were still on trays that you had to get the drawers out of and stuff like that, which was still quite nice. So yeah, see, look at all of these drawers that you had to open and everything like that in order to go through and everything like that. Yeah, that would be a little bit tedious. Ooh, that's a nice looking bridge. What the heck? All right, let's talk to you, Teddy.
The playground. There's something walking around here, but you never see it. The passive threat keeps you on your toes, and at the same time creates the illusion that you might be safe for the rest of the game.
Sounds about right. Okay. Fuck off. This stump tunnel was unwrapped in ZBrush Never Again. Let's say we're happy a lot of the game is dark. Did I? Yeah, I did. Fuck you. Anyways. These are some of the first concepts trying out the idea of transformation in the environment. The map showing before and after. So it'll be like that, and then it'll turn to that. Is that what that's saying? There we go. That. We'll turn to that. Here's the whole entire map. Dang. That will turn to that. Or those will turn to each other. And how the changing looks. So, like, this is the house, and then changing it to the forest. How these will change into the forest. That's actually quite cool. I like that. Concept showing both mood and the idea of the forest consuming the house. Ooh, there she is. Very, very nice. Some assets and model designs paired with early screenshot paint overs. So this became this. And pretty much this became this. This became this. Very, very nice. Dang it. I lost my way up. Because I was going to read that one. Another take on the puzzle was to untangle an armor from some roots blocking the door. Oh wait, can I rotate this? No, I can't. So yeah, I messed up. But so one of the puzzles was to get a piece of armor out from some roots. Okay, that's quite cool. That's a huge tree. Dang, there's a lot of stuff. Like I said, I want to look at all of this, so please be patient. And like I said, enjoy yourself by learning this game. These images are concept sketches from the painting room, the central hub where you place the puzzle pieces that you find throughout the third chapter. Initially, the idea was to use a golden egg to or other artifact to get through a magical door. The players first had to solve a puzzle that would transform the environment of the whole area from a house to a forest so that they could get a hold of the egg. That was previously too high for the child to reach. A further iteration of the painting room where solving the puzzle was leading to the chandelier falling and breaking the floor open into a huge chasm, leading to the players being able to obtain the golden egg. During creating this, we took a few steps back and saw that this whole sequence wasn't based on the child's experience and was feeling more like a generic puzzle for an adventure game. Therefore, this idea also ended up in the bin, and which came to just being a regular puzzle because, of course, little kids play with puzzles. So, what you were trying to do? This is pretty much what the room looks like now, with the three ways and then that, except a little bit more different. Since the scene is white boxed and the general layout is set, we do rough black and white sketches or paint overs to articulate the areas in a bit more detail, since the mood, style, and assets are more or less defined by early concepts. We don't need to spend time coloring from here. We usually literate within the scene and only draw examples when we need it. So, some black and white sketches of what they wanted. To begin with, this world was supposed to change from, as a result of the puzzle being solved, it would go from house being just slightly overgrown in places to being completely overgrown and rotting away. There were a bunch of narrative and gameplay reasons for abandoning this idea, but equally important was but equally important was the fact that it would require us to build two fully separate environments, easily doubling the workload. So we settled on a static mesh of these states instead. So basically, they put everything together, in a sense.
This is the forested home. It's a crumbling home that's slowly rotting away into the water and trees. The house here is a symbol of the family and home falling apart. The bloated creature inhabiting it is how the kid sees his mother when she's drinking and full of sorrow.
Yep. So technically, also it's Teddy. Teddy is telling us the story, but yep. So basically, the sea monster is basically our mother, drunk. That's how we portray it. And this is the closet. And this is more concept art. Oh yeah, there's that. That's what I want to talk about. And this is, I'm guessing, our room. And then there's more into here. Actually, I want to see one thing first, actually. Give me a sec. Oh, I can still follow while I'm in here. Okay, great. There was this place over here I wanted to take a look at. Does this just connect to the rest of it? Oh, it just connects to the rest of it. Okay. So we'll come back to this later. Alright. Right here. My little legs. Okay. We'll start right here. Most things in the game has changed a lot from the beginning of development. But one idea that persisted from when we started planning this chapter was a hallway with flickering lights where a code would appear and reappear in the distance. Here's seen with a eerily concept to block out phases and the final. So it'd be like this. Very, very spooky. Any of these have anything on them so I can just see? Okay, I guess I can't climb up. So I was hoping I would be able to climb. At one point during development, there was plans to have a boss battle with Heap. Ooh! The code monster found in this chapter. The child was supposed to be trapped in a room with it and had to remain hidden while solving a puzzle to be able to escape. Oh, okay, that's cool. So this was the room. And then like other rooms I gotta go to in order to solve the puzzle. The key element of this chapter was the claustrophobic feeling of narrow hallways converted with closet doors and being trapped within these. We wanted to have lots of different objects everywhere that could play tricks on your perception of them in dim lighting. Chests to crawl into and hide behind desks. More concept arts. Very, very nice stuff. The Star Door has always been a central part of this chapter. Oh, okay, so the Star Door was always going to be a thing. Alright. And has adapted to change along the way with the many iterations of layout and other changes made during progression. So the Star Door was always going to be a thing. It just had some changes throughout the game. So this is what it originally, I guess, it originally was going to be like. It was going to be a regular door with a star on it, and then yeah, like that, you had to put it in there, and then they started making it like, oh, why don't we make a big old circle of it, and then we got the one that we got today. Very, very nice. Very, very cool. Some more concept art. What the heck is this? Oh, this leads back here. Let's take a look at all of this stuff right up here. More, all the concept art. More paint overs of screenshots to figure out how we wanted the visuals to end up. These are made after implementing simple white box geometry of the level. Very, very beautiful. All these concept arts and everything are like very, very cool and very, very beautiful to look at. The moon door. like I said, with these like little indie games, I love these. These are like so cool that they made like these little the whatever you call it, the museum of what they wanted it to be, what they made it be, all the art and everything for what it was going to be to where it is and everything. Like, yeah, it's so cool. All right, Teddy, what you gotta say about this?
For each world the player goes through, the environment illustrates more and more the jumbling together of memories, and this place is a direct illustration of that mess. Most prominently, it's framed by the memory the child has from trying to hide in closets or any nook it can find. The monster in this place represents the mother when she is angry. It comes out when the kid is making a mess.
Yep. So Swamp Monster represents mother drinking. Cope Monster represents mother angry. And basically, all these closets and everything that we have to hide in or to hide from the coat thing is basically what the child did in order to hide from his mother when she was angry. But here's the Herald. We'll read that here later. But this is what they wanted Herald to look like. Yeah, so there's the umbrella and everything like that. What Heap looks like in game and everything like that. Super cool. What Hydra looks like. It actually is really cool to see up close. What Mother looks like, and then this is basically, I think, old what they wanted stuff to be in the game beforehand. Up here's the monster, and then all the dolls that we had to save. I'm sorry we didn't save you. I'm sorry our mother took us away before we could save you. All right, and oh yep, Teddy. So yep, so this Teddy is the messed up story that I was talking about. How the game, another part of the game, was originally supposed to play out, and yeah, that is fucking terrifying, especially for a child. So we'll start over here. Now this one is an old relic. The story, and particularly how the game ended, as was very different in the early days of production. Back then, Teddy was the antagonist of the game. The story was that the broken family situation made the child vulnerable, and an evil entity, a monster disguised as a friendly teddy bear, took advantage of this by tricking the child onto a dangerous adventure far away from home. During production, we realized that we had the choice to either make a typical and predictable horror story or to focus all of the attention on the family situation. Serious topics like these aren't much talked about in video games, and we felt compelled to make a creative game around this as we saw the potential to make a much more meaningful story and scrapped this idea along with a whole chapter and did huge reworks to many parts of the game to make it all come together more neatly. So yeah, so this was basically the concept art of the monster that was inside Teddy. Basically, when you got to that chapter, this is what he will do and everything like that. Which I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you can do it in this, but I'm pretty sure there's actually a way to play what they wanted the ending to be like. Teddy lighting up and everything like that. Design Teddy was a key moment of narrowing down the style, having a very democratic process to begin with. We all voted for the Teddy we liked best and ended up with a look that was very close to the current one. We wanted Teddy to feel like a cozy, warm, and friendly companion, almost grandfather like, while hinting at the fact that this was the father's beloved Teddy that he kept patching up and taking care of from his childhood. So this was the father. So like I said, this was the father's teddy bear, and that's why people I think say like, "Hey, this is just the father talking to you." So making the father basically be like a helpful person. Some 3D modeling of Teddy, some concept art, and then what we pretty much got. Oh, okay. I have all of them. Can I do anything with them? I'm wondering if I could do something with them here. We'll see. And then we'll talk to. Actually, why don't we just go talk to you since you're right here?
Oh, there you have me. Or old me. As now I'm just a floaty version in your memory, of course. Also, here are all the characters in Among the Sleep, old and new. Some are not used, and some are hard to see because of the various tricks and lighting we did to obfuscate them.
Oh, okay. So some of these are actually a thing in the game. You just can't see them unless you actually look hard enough. That's actually quite cool because you'll be looking like if you're just walking around not paying attention and all of a sudden you just look around like, what the fuck is that thing that I'm looking at right now? Yeah, exactly. Codename Harold is the first monster we created for the game. This was way back when the overall direction was skewed towards a more adventure game. As seen in the very first concept drawing made for the project, Harold was intended to be a physical monster in the first chapter. This worked well as a proof of concept in the demo we made, but during production, we realized that it really takes time to build suspense, which is crucial in making monsters feel appropriate and impactful. And then the concept arts of it and everything like that. This is Heap, the cope monster found in the fourth chapter. The whole idea of the chapter is how scary ordinary objects can be in certain situations when you don't see them clearly. Exactly. We think everyone can relate to having seen the silhouette of something in a dark room and gradually become more and more terrified as our imagination does its magic. We appealed this directly to the monster when designing it and decided to use a coat as is very much resembled the shape of a person or a humanoid creature. Concept art, I'm cute. What they wanted to originally make it look like. Let me try to get into a good position. Gosh dang it, I can't. Okay, I can read from here. Hydra is the small monster found in the third chapter of the game. We wanted to build a creature around the themes of what might be hidden in forest lakes, which is very related to eerie folklore and children's stories. True, we were told growing up. This also allowed us to touch on the themes of alcohol without being too obvious about it. We did this in indirect ways, like the paintings of women drinking from the well and turning into a monster and giving it a lot of gurgling and wet breathing sounds. That's why she drank from the well in the picture and then turned into a monster. So that's how they comprehended the alcoholism in this. Which again, it's still messed up, but yeah. Hydra version 2, which is kind of what we got. It's a little bit different. This is what they wanted her to look like. And basically, the arms being ripped off and everything like that. A live concept. Ooh, it's creepy. The mother was one of the first characters that we designed. Oh, so she was the first. Her 3D model was remade and tweaked a few times, but overall, she has remained very similar throughout the entire production. The blueprint and the model renders is how she looked when it was still a school project. The goal of her design was always to find a look of loving kindness and care for her. Despite her personality transformation and neglect, she never stopped loving her child. Yeah, see, she still loved her child, but due to all the alcoholism, the rage and anger she had because of divorce and everything like that, still became abusive, a little bit abusive and everything like that. So it's still messed up. I'll keep on saying that. Still, Teddy gun. Oh, so this one of the power ups that Teddy was supposed to have a gun. That's funny. One idea for Teddy was that he could equip items that granted him abilities. Some of those were a dragon mask that made him breathe fire, a sword he could fight with, a mage's hat gave him spells, and a wristband granted him strength. So this is what they wanted the mask to look like. Ooh, what the heck is that thing? Level 2 creature. So this is what the monkey thing they wanted that to be like. Ooh, that little rat thing. We'll take a look at the reading on that. So this was like the wizard hat and everything like that. The teddy gun. Sleep. What the heck is sleep? And then I'm guessing that's what they wanted that thing to look like. Ooh, there's more over here too. Ooh. These are all creatures that were designed very early in production. There wasn't a sudden design to cut these from the game. They all naturally phased out as we gradually shifted the game genre from an adventure game with horror elements into the game is today, which is kind of the exact opposite. What worlds did this reject creature inhabit? So I guess you go through there and you can see that. But let's take a look at this. The core concept of the furnace monster Hans is similar to that of Heap. We wanted to create something terrifying out of the ordinary objects. A child might see glowing eyes and a huge mouth on the front part of a wood furnace and exaggerate this bit and made the whole furnace become alive. Yep, true. The creature, the furnace, making it into a monster. Different concept of what the monster would look like. Nothing to talk about in here, just pictures. So this is what the whole entire getting the survival area all fixed up will look like. Some concept of what they wanted to look like and everything like that. And then basically became to what we know it to look like this. Alright, let's take a look in here. Yeah, stuff to read in here. Our first environments reflected more of an adventure or quest, exploring an ominous and threatening world, yet more whimsily. Let's read everything because I don't know how. Oh my, let's see. Is it going like? Oh wait, I can't click on them in order to look at them. All right, so we're just gonna have to look at them like this. This is what the map will look like, going through it all and everything like that. What one the worlds look like, some enemies that you have to fine. Concept art. Behind the house was a forest. The forest lead into a meadow. The meadow into a thorny jungle with odd one-eyed monkey looking things out to get you if you didn't stay in the light of the mushrooms, and that's what that thing is. More concept art of everything. So this is what all the meadow and everything, then to the forest where the monkeys will be chasing after you. And I'm guessing we would have been able to use one that's a flashlight for probably for a little while, and then they'll go away, and then you have to try to grab a new one before your one goes out. Under the forest waited the underground. Fuck off! That's creepy. Oh, I'm doing this. Under the forest waiting an underworld tunnel made by giant worms and great halls of crystals guarded by rock giants. So this is everything. And what the fuck is that? This is what the next area would be like. A world that was cut before we did anything more than concept and a rough white box blackout was a life-size dollhouse with a myriad of creepy dolls stalking you. And I would love this. I would absolutely love this, because this is something that a child would absolutely be fucking terrified of. And these are the worms and the monster from the underground.
This is the reveal. This is where you see your mother for what she is, and the player gets to connect the various monsters and sights through the game.
Mm-hmm. I didn't really get that each monster had their own different. I knew they all were about the mother, but I didn't know that they all had their own concept. Like the code was for anger, the swamp monster was for that. Welcome to the world that bit the dust. Oh, this is the mechanism world. This is what they wanted the mechanism world to look like. Awesome! I get to see that. Dang, there's a crap load of stuff too. Oh, dang. Dang, creepy at all. So this is what the mechanism world was going to be like. Oh, awesome. Oh, sketches for the layout and structures of the scrapped 6th chapter. Ooh. Yeah, so this was the, if you want me to tell you what the concept was, unless we get to actually play it, I'll just say this thing was going to eat you. I'm just going to say Teddy was going to eat you. That's all I'm going to say. Is that Teddy was going to eat you. And of course, you should know that. Different types of mechanisms in the world. Oh, I always actually get a better look at them. Was that run away? So this is the elevator. Very, very nice looking. This elevator is an example of sadly wasted time since we scrapped everything. It is designed to be a fully functional steam-powered elevator in theory at least. Very, very nice. See, you know it's sad that they scrapped all of this stuff. It's still quite cool that they decided to actually show this whole entire game. Show what this was going to be like. What this whole entire game was going to be like and everything like that. I absolutely love it. Let's go back. Alright, last thing to read right here. These are concepts that showcase the mood and the feel of what we wanted the last chapter of Among the Sleep to look like. So this was going to be the last chapter. The core idea was brass and bronze pipes and tubes lit up by fires on rocky surfaces, surrounded by completely pitch black darkness and void. There was also supposed to be a lot of machinery leading up to the old ending where the child would end up in a cauldron, deceived and tricked by the evil antagonist. Yep, so he would have been eaten. So this is technically what they wanted you to do.
Originally, the chase for the mom was a MacGuffin. You did not really find her, and the monsters used her to lure you further into the dreamlands. And we struggled for some time to make sense of this story, especially the playtesters were confused as the story ended without you seeing your mom again.
Okay. So technically, we didn't even get to like see our mother. It would be cool to like see our mother, and then all of a sudden, it's him, Teddy turning into that, or like Teddy just being like, "What's the matter?" And then you're like, I saw mom, I saw mom," or like you're just like, you are basically, I saw mom. He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll find your mother soon." And then it'd be like, wait a second. What does all the steam-powered, copper-filled, steampunkery nonsense relate to, you ask? Well, proceed to see the old ending of Among... Yes, we're going to see the old ending. Okay, yeah, so this is the old ending.
Now, here is something truly special. Want to see what the game almost was at some point? This is an old version of the story's conclusion, and it's been something we have not shown anybody except a few testers in the early days. You might say here, I got to have more fun than in the original ending. Come in and see.
Of course you did, because you're fucking evil in this version. All right, let's take a look at what the ending was going to be. So here we are in a cage crib. Let me out of here, Teddy. Let me out. Oh, fuck me. What was that? Why did I see a hand? The fuck was that? Oh. Hi, Teddy. Here, I got your arm back.
Hello.
Ooh.
Much better.
No, don't do this. Don't do it. No. And see, there's all our memories and stuff like that.
Oh, yes. Extraordinary. Round and round.
Let me out here, you dumbass.
Spices go in.
Oh, so the memories are like spices. Okay, that's weird.
5 little animals live on a steep, steep hill. A snail that dreams of climbing trees, but never will. A hungry, starving hippo whose gummies are red, and her best friend seagull lying lifeless and dead.
Oh. Actually, this is
And
way better
now
to see him.
for the main ingredient. Thank you. You did very well. I will enjoy you very much.
Oi! Well. See, like right here, it'd be cool to like see like little glimpses of your mother and everything like that, and then you'll wake up with your mother. That'd be a cool ending. But yep, that's what that's what this ending was going to be like. You're going to be eaten alive. Creepy, I know. Very, very cool though. Like everything that we've seen, it's all really cool. I like this. Making sure I don't miss out on anything. Oh. Don't know if I'm missing anything else in here. The only other thing I could say that I'm missing is basically all the pictures and getting that secret up there. That is pretty much all I could think about missing. Let me actually see something before we get off so I can just say this for also video. Steam, library, Among the Sleep. 7.6. Oh, yeah, because I left it open for a while. That's why it's so long. House drawings, cave drawings, forest drawings, closet drawings, prologue drawings, and collect all draw. Okay, so everything, so all the chapters is just basically collect every single picture in every chapter and the prologue, and then do the ending. Oops. So I think that about covers this game right now. If I when I do get all the pictures, I'll probably make like a little short, of me showing all the images and then basically showing what I get inside the box. But yep, that'll be it for Among the Sleep. Again, very 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 good game. I would say if you want to experience it for yourself, do so. And if you are also a person who wants to game design or are a game designer and are making a game right now, learn from this. Learn from these people pretty much how like sometimes things will not always go well. Sometimes you have to scrap everything that you do in order to make the game better or something like that. And it might suck, but people will still love it. And if you do that type of stuff and your game is going to be short or something like that, like this game was, do this. Have a big open area just showing what the game would have been, or like all your concept art and everything like that. Like how some games do show their concept art, but it's only in art books and everything like that, so you can buy the art books and everything like that, and it'll show all the art and everything like that. But yeah, again, hopefully you all enjoyed. Again, very lovely game. I am so glad that I got to experience it for myself. I'm going to try my best to 100% it and see what's inside that chest. But yep, I guess I will see you all next time. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.